So last week I gave an update on the regional ferry system, which is a joint program between Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Barbados. So this regional ferry system is seen as a movement pretty much to move people across the Caribbean, across those three island nations at the beginning, and then it should extend in the future to places like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to Grenada. Also, they are looking into moving agriculture, moving finished goods across Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Barbados. And so, with the update of this program, what was interesting is that I got a lot of feedback in the comment section, and a lot of people were excited about this program. But for whatever reason, there's about, I would say, a 30% of people in the comment section that was very doubtful about this project, and that they believe that the Caribbean, we don't really have a good history of running anything successful. So they're not holding their breath because they don't think it's going to work. So this is what I want to talk about today, the regional ferry system. And I just want to go into a bit of a history about ferry in the Caribbean, and to let people know that there are successful ferry that's all over the Caribbean. So this won't be the first. There are a lot of successful programs going on in the Caribbean ferry system that's running for decades successfully. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let's talk about it. Yes, so as I said, last week I did an update on this ferry system. And what I really enjoy about doing this type of thing is because I'm not all over the Caribbean. I've not been to all of the islands in the Caribbean, but I received a lot of information in messages, like private messages. I've received a lot of information in the comment section of the videos. And what was pretty interesting, that because I've been doing a lot of history about the West Indies, and something that was brought to my attention that I did not really know about. I know that the West Indies had a lot of things going before it fall apart in 1961, but I did not know about the ferry system. So I got some new information about a regional ferry system that was in the Caribbean, that was a part of the West Indies before the West Indies Federation fell apart. And so what I'd like to do before I move on is just to give you some history on that ferry system. Take a look.
The Federal Maple was a ship that sailed between Caribbean islands as part of a Canadian effort to build trade links with the region. The ship was one pair of twin ships, the other pair being the Federal Palm. The Federal Maple and the Federal Palm were presented to the West Indies Federation by the Canadian government and were a key component of Canada's efforts to increase trade with the Caribbean islands, which had become Canada's largest trading partner during World War II. The ships sailed to ports between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and were a key part of the Maple and Palm concept. This concept was rooted in the idea of a political association between Canada and the West Indies Federation. The West Indies Federation was a federal state made up of 10 British colonial territories that was established in 1958. The Federation was intended to eventually become a fully independent state, but political divisions among the former colonies prevented this from happening. The Federation was dissolved in 1961 after Jamaicans voted against it.
Okay, so that was it. That was some history that I just learned about. I know a lot about the West Indies Federation, but I did not realize that there was a ferry system. And as you saw in that clip, the Federal Maple and the Federal Palm, those two ships, massive ships that were a ferry system that was pretty much put in place by the government of Canada in terms of a partnership with the Caribbean, and that after World War II or during World War II, the Caribbean was Canada's biggest trading partner. So those are some things that I learned about the Federation that I didn't know before. That's very interesting. So yes, we have had history of successful ferry system in the Caribbean. And for me, I've always sat and wondered for the past I would say about 20 years, knowing about the Federation, I've always wondered to myself, what if? Like, what if the Federation did not fall apart? What if Jamaica did not pull out of the Federation and we had the Federation up to today? As in previous video, I spoke about some of the success out of the Federation, which is the West Indies Cricket, the University of the West Indies, and the West Indies Mona Hospital in Jamaica. Those are just some of the success that came out of the West Indies Federation. And also in previous videos, I spoke about the railway system in Jamaica that was a part of it. Canada, a Canadian company, also managed that system, and they also had a streetcar. So yes, they had a ferry system, the Federal Maple and the Federal Palm. And I spoke to a few people in the comment section. One person pointed out that they remember 1961 as a child taking the Federal Maple from Jamaica to Trinidad and Tobago, and that it was a beautiful ship. And as you can see the images, it's like a massive ship. So I just wonder what would have happened if the Federation did not fall apart. But however, there are successful ferry system that is still up and running in the Caribbean, and I'm just going to point out a few of those systems that are still up. Just a few of the ferry system that's up and running in the Caribbean very successfully, I was told, because as I said, I'm not all over the Caribbean. I've not been to all of the islands yet, but for people who reached out in the comment section and for people who reached out privately, thank you for this information. So the first one, there's a successful ferry system I heard that's going from Guyana to Suriname. And so there are examples out there. There's also one that go from St. Lucia to Martinique to Dominica. So that's number two. There's one from St. Kitts. I didn't know about this one, from St. Kitts to St. Martin. So there are successful ferry running out there. We know that the one from Trinidad to Tobago. We know the one from St. Kitts to Nevis. We know there in Bermuda there's like successful ferry system. So all over the Caribbean there are some systems going. So this one from Trinidad and Tobago to Guyana to Barbados, and as I said, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada to be on board in the future, that would be like a big deal for the Caribbean. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because, as I said, there are quite a few people that doubt this program, that they don't have much faith in this program. But I just believe that as people of the Caribbean, we have to be positive, and I believe that at some stage we're going to have to hold our governments across the region accountable for the Caribbean, because the Caribbean is such a beautiful, beautiful region. And I've always said, like, the sea, just imagine like all of these cars on the streets. Just recently been in Barbados and traffic jam in St. Vincent, traffic jam. These islands, like 20, 30 years ago, like you could get from point A to point B in no time. Everywhere you go across the Caribbean, you're seeing traffic jam as if you're in a big city like New York, or you're in LA, or you're in Toronto, or Montreal, or somewhere. And that is crazy because we have this wide open sea that is pretty much underutilized. Because to me, the Caribbean Sea is the most beautiful body of water in the world. The Caribbean Sea is just beautiful, clear, calm sea, and it's just a shame that we're not using it as much. And when I look all over the Caribbean and I see these massive cruise ships, some of these cruise ships that are coming to the Caribbean, they're the size of like 2 hotels in the Caribbean. Some of these cruise ships have like up to 800 rooms. And for people who know about cruise ship, or if you have ever worked on a cruise ship before, you would know that like half of the cruise ship is under the water. So just imagine the damage that these massive boats are doing to the coral reefs. And the Caribbean, that is our home. And we're allowing these massive ships, cruise ship to come in and to damage the coral reefs, but yet we can't have like small boats like ferry system running. We're not confident enough that we can have like a regional system that can cover the entire Caribbean. So guys, if you're anywhere in the Caribbean and you sound off in the comment section, let me know where in the Caribbean you're from and what ferry system that you're used to in your region, and what do you think about the ferry system, whether you're in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you're in St. Lucia and you took the ferry from St. Lucia to Martinique. How are the ferry system in the Caribbean? Your experience, share in the comment section. And I believe once we have like a successful regional system, we can always develop that system to like first class, just like when you're in places like Canada and places like the United States of America. They have some luxury like train system where you go into these trains and they have like nice beds, they have like these small rooms and stuff like that. The future of ferry could look like that, where you could be going from say Jamaica to Trinidad and Tobago, and it could be like a long trip, but if you have a comfortable space, a first class space, that would make the trip almost like you're on a cruise. So, as I said, sound off in the comment section. Let me know where in the Caribbean you're watching this video from, and are you as excited about the regional ferry system as I am? And are you looking forward to travel, to just island hopping? Just imagine going from island to island to island on these ferry. So, as I said, sound off and let me know what you think. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.